Okay, hey folks, how you doing? Hey, just wanted to say if you're moving from a blue state to a red state, leave your garbage behind. If you think you are academically minded or some sort of pseudo-intellectual scholar who listens to NPR all the time, leave all that crap at the border because here's your disconnect. Your disconnect is you're bringing your blue votes with you. You continue to vote the same way, and you bring that crap with you. Your disconnect between your high, lofty minded ideals and then bringing that to another place have ended up being horrible ideas when they are practiced in real life, when they're applied. So if you're going to move to a blue or red state, I would highly recommend start voting red. Because if you want anything to change, at least try that. Now, it's not going to solve everything, but it's a start, okay? So if you're coming from California or wherever and you're invading the Intermountain West and bringing your crap ideas with you that have destroyed your own state, and that's why you're retreating from your own state, don't bring them here. You got to vote differently. Okay, that's a start. So anyway, let's continue on, okay, folks? So, but I welcome you. If you're coming here and you're going to vote red and you're going to vote differently, hey, it's great. Like I said, it's not going to solve everything. Sure, there are plenty of rhinos out there and all that stuff, and they're crappy, but at least it's a start. So try that if you're going to move to one of these states that has protected themselves from your policies, like in California. If you're going to come in and demolish the Intermountain Western states with your ideas, leave that shit at the border, and then come on in and vote red. So anyway, just my opinion. So anyway, folks, thanks for watching. And I just had to say that. I had to get off my chest. I'm like, oh my gosh, folks, stop bringing this garbage with you. And so anyway, here's this today's thing just in. Now, this is a sad state of affairs, of course, but remember, before I get into this, remember that the intent before the 2024 election is, as Dan Bongino talked about, that the Democrats are very desperate in DC right now. So here's what they do is they're the parasites. They really are parasites. They're communists. That's what they are. The Democratic Party is the Communist Party. So let's stop beating around the bush. And their intent right now is they're parasites. They're taking, stealing, and then allowing U.S. citizens to be murdered in the name of leveraging their own power. So here's something. With that, they're going to try everything they can to kill the host, the United States of America, before the 2024 election. The parasites, which are the liberals, they're going to destroy the host. And that's the intent. Because if they can't get what they want, if they can't keep Trump out of office, all these things, they're going to might as well just burn down the house with everybody in it. Whatever collateral damage that causes, we don't care. So I'm just telling you straight up. And I'm going to tell you that, but with that, embrace the fact that you can be vigilant and you can be prepared. And I would suggest probably maybe getting to know your neighbors a little more, because I think that's what we need to get back to. And am I the poster child for that? No, I'm not. But I think I'm kind of talking about myself too, is that I need to be involved in community more, because I think this is the key to keeping our country. Okay, keeping our country where we can still have freedom from being thrown in jail for free speech and stuff like that. And this is an example of one of those things right here. So just in, the praying grandma, Rebecca Lorenz, has reportedly been found guilty by a DC jury, of course a DC jury, which is absolutely, totally corrupt, after she briefly entered the Capitol on J 6th. Glad to see our justice system going after some hard-hitting criminals, right? Yeah, grandma. Lorenz spent 10 minutes inside the Capitol and was seen praying outside of the building for an hour. Lorenz is on film peacefully walking around the Capitol building and was spotted speaking with a police officer. She is allegedly facing a $210,000 fine and faces 1 year in jail. The video below was taken in March of Lorenz driving by the Capitol. Here is her account. So I'll play that for you.
still my rightful president. And just standing up for my country, it makes me a criminal. And it's just not right. I feel so weird to be here. Over 3 years ago, I was here. that my own country is treating me like a criminal. Just because I believe that they stole my rightful president.
Okay, this obviously dangerous threat to our democracy right here, which that's what Nancy Pelosi would say, wouldn't she? Which threat to democracy is another code phrase for threat to my power. It really is, and democracy is overrated. Now, we are a constitutional republic. You can go ahead and research that if you want. Most people seem to be aware of this now, with who have common sense. But let me just read some of the comments here because they're revealing. The U.S. government is the largest terrorist organization in the world. Now, those are not my words. These are the words of Paul Zapula on Twitter. I'm just reading that off. It's not even close, and we're witnessing it commit terrorism against the American people on a daily basis. Sending a woman to jail for praying is insane. Our government is insane. Well, yes, they are. And I'm saying, do we need government? I believe that, yes, in civilized society, you need some types of government, but the Constitution of the United States was meant to limit the government, extremely limit the government. That's absolutely, of course, as you know, I know too, this is completely out of control now. And ever since about the late 1800s, there's been a monstrous push to centralize the federal government and increase their power, bring it all in, and have egregious amounts of control over the states, much more than I believe was ever intended. So Juanita Broderick says, if they're trying to make an example out of her, they've lost their friggin' minds. This will backfire big time. I donated to her Give, Send, Go. I hope others do. I think that's a good idea. I think I may donate too. To her Give, Send, Go. I'm going to make a note of that too, because I think even if you don't have a lot right now, and I know everybody's struggling, if you can give $5, I would give $5 because I'm going to do that after this for sure. And so it says, the Biden regime DOJ has gone way overboard. The political persecution must end. Yeah, I think their arrogance and their hell bent on getting revenge or vengeance or some type of lashing out at all their political enemies has blinded them to the fact that almost every move they're making right now, the Biden regime, is just, the optics are absolutely horrendous. And they are hell bent on destroying these people's lives. I think good American citizens, yeah, they're just trying to go after them because I believe more than Biden. Biden just kind of sucks on a ice cream cone once in a while, and he's quite gone. His mind is gone. But most of his cabinet are Obama. They were in Obama's cabinet too. And most of these people have the same philosophy as Obama. They detest and loathe the United States of America. They detest and loathe nationalism. Is nationalism bad? No. Nationalism is not. It's gotten a bad rap from people like in the past, but I don't believe it is at all. I believe nationalism has led us to where we have it's actually aided in having safer communities. Has nationalism, does it have its problems? Of course it does. But I believe it's protected our traditions, it's protected our rights quite well. It's not perfect. No, it isn't. But the U.S. Constitution, like for me, that's what I think of as far as nationalism. I think of the Constitution, things like that. The Bill of Rights is that individuals in a place like the United States of America, they very much reflect that an individual has value, okay? And these communists in the Biden regime, they look at people as collective, as a monolith. They paint everybody with a broad brush. They believe in collectivism. Collectivism does not value the individual in any way. So The political persecution must end. I digress. But BLM and the Epstein list walk free. Just sickening. Well, yeah, of course. And here's the thing. Is this stuff new? Here's a question. Is this stuff new? Is any of this stuff really new? Ask yourself that. What we're seeing now, none of this is really new. I think this stuff has been going on for decades now. If you ever want to see a deep dive into this, read Whitney Webb's books or see any interview with Whitney Webb. She's done a deep dive since about the 1930s of how the feds kind of adopted the model of organized crime early on from the likes of like Lucky Luciano, seriously, and his efforts in actually aiding the U.S. Navy during World War II in New York Harbor. And then since then, that many of these organizations now in the feds, they've adopted that, the organized crime template of blackmail, extortion, things like that. I think so. I guess what I'm getting at is I don't really think we're seeing anything new. It's just now, it's an information war. We're seeing everything's being revealed. The things that have been going on for decades and decades and decades, they're just now being revealed. This stuff has always been going on for a long, long time. I mean, Epstein was doing his stuff since the 70s. He was doing that stuff. And I believe that sex trafficking, stuff like that, that's been going on, that's a blackmail type of tool that's been going on for an incredibly long time. And there was an interview that I saw. It's an old interview. It's at the church, Frank Church hearings of 1975, I think, and it was concerning the CIA. And they had the former CEO of CBS. He had been the CEO in 1952, and they asked him, they said, "Did the CIA approach you?" And he goes, "Yes, they did." The CIA approached CBS and said, we would like you to push stories according to our narrative, to influence, propagandize, and manipulate the American public. So they've been very much involved in these things for a long time. So we're just seeing stuff that can, to a decent person with some common sense, it comes as, it's startling. When the rose-colored glasses come off, it can be startling stuff. The stuff that you're going on with P. Diddy, Epstein, all this stuff. This is stuff that's actually been going on for a while. It's just we're discovering it now. The onion is being peeled. It's being revealed what's been going on for decades in the United States. And we're kind of coming to a realization that America is not the America we thought we grew up with. It hasn't been for a long time. So Sassafras says, "I want to know who the jury is. Game on like Donkey Kong when Trump is back in office. I want retribution for every single person suffering at this corrupt government. Joe Biden is your enemy. Everyone who supports Joe Biden is your enemy. We must defeat Biden in November or else America is finished." Remember, I'm just reading people's commentary, okay? These are not my words, just saying it, okay? That's my disclaimer. Sergi says, "Don't throw grandma in jail for touring the Capitol building. There are so many real criminals out there and repeat offenders." Let me just do this. And repeat offenders, those should be the priority. What is going on in the justice system? Well, the justice system has adopted a concept called anarcho-tyranny, where you jail people for things that aren't really actual crimes at all. So it gives the appearance that, oh, hey, this law enforcement agency is doing their job. They're arresting people. But then we see who they're arresting. They're arresting people for having a flag in their yard. They're arresting people who say that they're patriotic. They're putting words on a list of saying these are white supremacists or these are neo-Nazis or something like that, saying, and if you see the words being used by people online, like using the words patriot or red pill, stuff like this. This was revealed in Congress about a year ago, that the FBI was putting people on a list who were using these terms in their social media accounts. Yeah, so that's where we are. Don't throw grandma in jail for touring the Capitol building. There's so many real criminals out there and repeat offenders. Those should be, and this is anarcho-tyranny. There's a term for this, as I was saying. There's a term for this. It's called anarcho-tyranny. It's when you arrest regular law-abiding citizens. Okay, you make up the law, you weaponize this two-tier justice system, and then the people who are committing, let's just say, for YouTube's sake, sexual assault, homicide, murders, things like that, these people go free. Okay, and they use hardened criminals to actually suppress the law-abiding populace. So it's called anarcho-tyranny. This is sick. The fact that anyone can support this is beyond me. Let's see. The Biden DOJ. Vote out Democrats. Vote in Trump so we can put a stop to their fascism. See. Effing BS. We need to dismantle DC. They are like a foreign country and we are their slave states. Well, that is actually very astute and lucid observation. I'm giving him major kudos for that one. The Waco Kid. FBI stands for following Biden's instructions. Well, at this point, yes. I believe there's some field agents that went into the FBI, some of these law enforcement organizations that have idealistic things of getting the real bad guys, like sex traffickers, murderers, stuff like that. But then I believe there's a contingent too that's been pulled in and sucked in by the political weaponization group. And I believe that's centered around the DC group, and not quite so much in the field offices, but definitely in the DC group. But you can see what the jackboots have coming for you. If you could see a conservative, report them. There's Jack Smith. To report conservatives, call 1-800-I'm-a-Nazi. Yeah. It's a sad state of affairs in America. Your politicians made the United States into Russia while feeding you bullshit. Yeah, Yuri Bezmenov talked about this back in the 80s. He had been a former KGB agent who defected to the United States via India. And anyway, he gave a whole lecture on this, how communism is also very patient. And for years, since the times of Alger Hiss in the United States, people in the administration of the United States, all the way back to the 20s, there have been people who've been used in the United States to carry out, like, at the time, it was Moscow's demands, So it's kind of interesting. And so it says 0 trials for Hunter Biden, 0 trials for COVID tyranny. Yeah, where's the trial for Fauci, man? 0 trials for Biden admin lies, Epstein, big tech collusion, vaccine side effects, big pharma, Russian disinformation, massive election fraud, trials for FBI, CDC, FDA, military industrial complex, media censorship complex, multiple investigations on Elon Musk and multiple investigations on Donald Trump. Well, there you go. That's where we are right now, the two-tier justice system. Meanwhile, they turn murderers and drug dealers back out on the street without charging bail or often bringing charges. The injustice system is such a disgrace, yes. And that's anarcho-tyranny right there. What he just said is anarcho-tyranny. Letting the murderers and the hardened criminals go, and then putting this old lady for praying in the Capitol, putting her in jail, and charging her $200,000. This is not what our courts are for. This should not be happening in a sane country. Rebecca Lorenz is a 72-year-old great-grandma facing 1 year in prison and $210,000 in fines. Her crime, peacefully entering the Capitol building on January 6th for 10 minutes and praying. Yep. So does this mean we should stop? No, we should not stop praying. Continue being a decent person. But I believe now's the time when we need to actually just say stuff. Stop buttering it up. Stop being afraid of actually calling these people out for accountability. And here's the Democrats right here, inciting violent insurgency, right here. Remember this? Nothing. No crimes for these people, right? This is Presley, the bald chick. There needs to be unrest in the streets. Protesters should not let up. Kamala Harris. And there's Maxine Waters. If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, the Trump cabinet, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and create a crowd and you push back on them and you tell them that they're not welcome anymore anywhere. Pelosi, I just don't know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be. And these people are part of this insurgency. These people are part of disruption. They have capitalized on the riots in 2020. They were behind it. And Pelosi was behind all that stuff. Like, if we can't have what we want, if Trump's going to be in office, then we'll go ahead and burn the country down. That's kind of their goal. And that's because they are addicted to power. That's a way to leverage power. If she was praying, she was exercising her religious freedom, her freedom of speech, and also had the right to peacefully assemble, all of which are protected by the First Amendment. Yeah, this is the very same thing the media and the Democrats said Trump would do with the Justice Department. Yeah, so you get the point, folks. Anyway, I appreciate you watching. Let me know what your thoughts are in this, folks. There is hope. I will never, ever, ever, ever take the black bill completely. It's just, we're just going through a very difficult time. We really are. And it's going to be this way for a little while. You got to be honest with yourself. Is it going to be this way for a while? Yes, it will. It'll be tough. And we've got to hang on, and we've got to, I think prayer is important. I think honestly, reject new atheism. I don't believe that's helping anybody. It created a vacuum, and this is what filled it. This garbage right here. See this? This filled that vacuum. So anyway, I encourage you to maybe kind of think about those things. And thanks for watching, folks. Put a like on the video if you like it, and please subscribe, and I will talk to you later. Bye.